Hello YouTube, I'm Gunther from Germany. It's not my main objective to accuse NASA of lying about the lost civilization on Mars. My priority intention is to find out what happened on Mars and when it did happen. The hypothesis that Mars was like Earth in former times is generally accepted, even by NASA. NASA claims that this was billion years ago.
But one last thought, I would hope that, again, I think the moon is close by, and whatever we can actually get a benefit out of going back there, we should, before you take the next step. However, the most important thing was, if Mars, can I ask permission for 1 minute for this question? And that is, you have indicated that Mars was totally different thousands of years ago. Is it possible that there was a civilization on Mars thousands of years ago?
So the evidence is that Mars was different billions of years ago, not thousands of years ago.
Well, yes.
There is no evidence that I'm aware of that.
Would you rule that out? That, see, there's some people. Well, anyway.
I would say that is extremely unlikely.
Okay, well, thank you all. Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks for the good job you're doing. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Rohrbacher.
Really?
Looking forward to finding out what's up.
NASA makes a conjecture, but there is no evidence. Dr. Tom van Vlenden's exploded planet hypothesis sounds plausible and does not imply the extinction of life on Mars or the drying up of the oceans. Dr. van Vlenden, who died in 2009, thought that Mars was a former moon of another planet that exploded and created the asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars. Any lethal cataclysm, like large asteroids, could wipe out life, destroy the atmosphere, and dry up the oceans within a few weeks or even days. But Dr. van Vlenden didn't thought of a catastrophe like Thor's hammer, the complete annihilation of every life. We make use of telescopes since the 16th century. With telescope, Mars looks reddish up to pink. Details are very pale and not easy to recognize. So nobody really knows when Mars lost rivers, lakes and oceans. And nobody knows the reason why. Keep this in mind when you look at the images I will show you now. The first image shows an only too well-known scenery. The city was attacked with conventional weaponry like cruise missiles or airborne bombs. A quick glance reveals that these are ruins of a civilization. It's easy to identify walls, concrete pillars, iron or steel rods, or even some pieces of furniture. But how are things with the second image? This is Hiroshima after the nuclear bomb. The houses and buildings in the foreground are blown away, but you can still identify their positions. There are supply points for gas and water and connections to the sewer system. Before we look at the next image, which shows the landscape on Mars, you should be aware of the fact that modern H-bombs are 10 to 100 times more effective than the ancient nuclear bomb of Hiroshima. If there was a nuclear war on Mars, what I'm convinced of, it's more likely that Martians used H-bombs instead of the older types. And that would also be the case if the Martians had been attacked by an alien race. So the remains are likely smaller than in Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Nevertheless, you can find artifacts and ruins, if you have a closer look. I chose an older Giga-Pan of Neville Thompson, who is one of the best image specialists. As always, you find the link in the description. Neville stitched up Curiosity series of images, MSL107-109, into a large photo, which Neville didn't do. At first sight, it looks like a boring landscape with natural rocks of no interest. But with a closer look, When you magnify the details, you will find lots of artifacts, metal scrap, supply pipes, broken ornamented pillars. The buildings were razed to the ground, but you can still find pieces of the foundations. I will walk through this image and show you some of them. There are hundreds you can identify immediately. Just check it out. With all this, you must consider that there are two possibilities. The rover Curiosity is on Mars or on Earth, perhaps on Devon Island, the NASA training area in Alaska. But unlike the Apollo mission, why should they fake a mission we could comply with? To snatch a few extra $1 billion for black ops?
I would say that is extremely unlikely.
Sure, it is possible to fake it all. Fake a landscape on Mars with artifacts of a lost civilization they scarcely try to hide, knowing that there are millions of viewers who watch the rover, examine everything and especially check the plausibility of its path. But what for? To convince some alloheads that NASA wants to hide a lost civilization, which proved that the rover must be on Mars? Seriously?
I would say that is extremely unlikely.
I'm convinced the rover is on Mars. NASA don't want to admit that there was a Martian civilization because they are not sure if some Martians survived the obvious nuclear war. This question is the real mission of Curiosity. And that is the fear of NASA and all intel services. To admit that there is still a species with high technology on Mars, capable of destroying a whole planet with nuclear weapons they still own.
I would say that is extremely unlikely.
Okay, enough for today. See you next time.